Hello everyone! Today is not a new unit, a new theory, or one more thing to memorize. It is a chance to pause and recognize what happened across the semester. In sociology, we did not only learn new vocabulary, we practiced a new way of saying. We learned to look at everyday life, familiar routines, institutions, inequality, culture, and social change with more curiosity and more care. So this closing reflection is about learning, growth, the honors project, and what I hope you carry forward. My goal is for you to leave not feeling finished with sociology, but ready to keep asking bigger and bigger questions. One of the biggest lessons of the semester is the sociological imagination, the ability to connect personal experience to larger patterns, histories, and social structures. At first, sociology can feel like it is asking us to complicate everything. Why talk about culture when someone makes a choice? Why talk about institutions when someone succeeds or struggles? But that is exactly the point. Sociology helps us see that people make choices inside conditions they do not create alone. That does not erase individual responsibility. It deepens our understanding. It gives us a way to ask, what social forces shape this moment? What patterns are we seeing? Who benefits? Who is left out? What history made this seem normal? Another major area of growth was learning to move from quick opinions to evidence-based thinking. We all came into the course with experiences, assumptions, and opinions. That is normal. Sociology does not ask us to pretend we are blank slates. Instead, it asks us to slow down before we say, that is just how people are. We ask, how do we know? What evidence would help us answer that? And what might we be missing? The research process matters because it teaches humility. Good questions, careful definitions, ethical methods, and honest interpretation helps us move from reaction to understanding. That is a skill you can use in any class, any career, in any community you enter. This semester, we practiced using theories as lenses. Functionalism asked us to look at how parts of society fit together and what functions institutions serve. Conflict theory asked us to pay attention to inequality, power, resources, and whose interests are protected. Symbolic interactionism asked us to notice meaning, symbols, language, and everyday interaction. The important lesson is that theory is not a box to trap our thinking. It is a tool to sharpen our thinking. A single social issue can look different through each lens, and that is the strength of sociology. We learn to ask better questions because we have more than one way to see. If I could name a few lessons I hope stay with you, I would name these. First, culture is learned. The thing that feels natural to us often has a social history. Second, inequality is patterned. It does not happen randomly or only individually. It is often built into roles, institutions, and everyday expectations. Third, institutions matter. Families, schools, workplaces, governments, media, and healthcare shape opportunities and outcomes. And fourth, change is possible. Social arrangements are made by people, sustained by people, and sometimes challenged by people. These lessons are not slogans, they are habits of analysis. They help us become more thoughtful students, workers, neighbors, voters, and community members. The honors project was one of the most important parts of the course because it moved us from learning sociology to doing sociology. Research does not begin with perfect answers. It begins with a question that matters. From there, you locate evidence, evaluate sources, notice patterns, make an argument, and communicate what you found. That process can be frustrating at times because good work often requires revision, but that is also where the learning happens. The project asks you to connect personal curiosity to social analysis. It asks you to take an idea seriously enough to investigate it. That is the work of sociology, and I hope you recognize that that is an accomplishment. Growth in this course was not only about memorizing terms or earning points. Growth looked like learning how to ask more precise questions. It looked like listening more carefully to classmates, sources, and communities. It looked like using evidence more responsibly and being willing to revise an assumption when the evidence pushed back. Growth also looked like empathy. Not the kind of empathy that avoids hard truths, but the kind that lets us understand people and social conditions with more depth. If you leave this course able to say, I had not thought about it that way before, that is real learning. One reason I encourage you to keep studying sociology is that it travels with you. It is not limited to one major or one career. If you go into healthcare, sociology helps you understand health disparities, institutions, and patient experiences. If you go into law or criminal justice, it helps you think about power, deviance, inequality, and social control. If you go into education, business, technology, public policy, community work, or leadership, sociology helps you understand people inside systems. Wherever people interact, sociology matters. Wherever decisions affect groups of people, sociology matters. Wherever someone says that is just common sense, sociology gives you the tools to ask whose common sense and with what consequences. So here is my invitation. Take more sociology. Take social problems if you want to connect the classroom to urgent public issues. Take race and ethnicity, gender, family, deviance, criminology, health and society, social movements, or research methods, if one of those questions stayed with you. Follow the topic that made you lean forward. You do not need to become a sociology major to benefit from more sociology. You only need to be someone who wants to understand people, institutions, inequality, culture, and change more deeply. Every next question has a social story, and sociology gives you ways to investigate it. I want to end on a positive note. Thank you for the curiosity, care, and courage you brought to this semester. Learning sociology sometimes means asking uncomfortable questions. It can mean noticing inequality, confronting assumptions, and recognizing that the world is more complex than easy explanations suggest. But sociology is also hopeful. It shows us that society is made through relationships, institutions, choices, meanings, and collective action. That means society can be studied, understood, challenged, and improved. As you leave this course, keep noticing patterns. Keep asking who benefits, who is affected, and what evidence shows. Keep listening before judging. Keep connecting your own experiences to the lives of others. And when you have the chance, take more sociology. Thank you for a meaningful semester. Bye.